In a quiet mountain town, nestled deep in the forest, there lived a woman named Clara who had inherited her grandmother's cottage after she died under mysterious circumstances. The house was old, wooden, and creaked with every step. But Clara didn't mind. It was peaceful, and she was ready to start over. One thing about the house always bothered her. There was a second door in the basement. It was heavy metal and rusted shut. Her grandmother never spoke of it, and neither did the locals. Though a few older townsfolk would glance toward the ground when she mentioned it. Clara tried to open it once, as if something from the other side was holding it shut. She left it alone after that. Days passed quietly until the scratching started. Every night around 2:14 a.m., Clara would hear faint scratching behind the door. Not rats, not wind. It was rhythmic, slow, deliberate, like fingernails dragging across iron. She recorded it once, a soft screeching, like someone whispering through teeth. She played it back for the hardware store clerk in town. He turned pale. "You should leave," he said. "That door has been there since the mining days. Nobody who opened it ever stayed sane." Clara laughed it off. She wasn't superstitious, the scratching continued. Then came the knocking. One night, she was jolted awake by 3 loud, metallic knocks. She froze in bed. It was 2:14 a.m. again. The next night, the same knocks, only louder. And closer she went down with a flashlight. The air was freezing. Her breath fogged in front of her. She stood in front of the second door. Bang, bang, bang. The door shook. Then a voice, low, raspy, inhuman. "Let me out. Clara." She dropped the flashlight. The basement plunged into darkness. The voice whispered again, right next to her ear. Though nothing was there, "You look just like her." Her grandmother, Clara Rand, she called a priest, a historian, anyone who would listen. Finally, an old woman came, a retired folklorist. She stared at the door for a long time before speaking. "That's not a door. It's a seal." "For what?" Clara asked. The woman looked at her with hollow eyes. "For what comes when it breaks." That night, Clara boarded up the basement, moved to the attic, slept with lights on, but on the third night, she woke up at 2:14 a.m., and the second door was wide open. Clara didn't remember falling asleep. She only remembered waking, heart hammering, air cold, and finding the basement door open. It wasn't possible. She had boarded it shut, nailed it with thick planks, covered it with salt, paint, even a line of iron filings the old folklorist gave her. But now the boards were splintered, thrown across the floor like matchsticks. The door hung ajar, blackness yawning beyond it. Not shadow, not night, blackness, a hole without end. Clara stared down the stairs, barely breathing. Then she saw them. Footprints, muddy, bare, leading up from the basement to her bedroom. She ran. Outside the air was dead. No wind, no birds. Even the forest around her was unnaturally still, as if holding its breath. The nearest neighbor lived a mile down the road. She drove. When she got there, she found the house dark. She knocked. No answer. She stepped inside. The kitchen light flickered on. The floor was covered in wet footprints. Bare, the same muddy ones. They led from the back door, through the kitchen, down the hallway, and up the stairs. A shape moved at the top, just a silhouette, pale, watching. "Who are you?" she whispered. The thing tilted its head. It had no eyes, just skin pulled tight where eyes should be. And then it smiled. Clara didn't remember driving home, but she found herself back in the cottage at sunrise, doors locked behind her. On the table was a note, scribbled in handwriting that looked like her grandmother's. "You opened it. Now it wears you." That night, 2:14 a.m. came again. Clara didn't wake in bed. She woke in the basement, standing in front of the second door, now sealed shut again. Except this time the scratching came from her side. She ran up the stairs, but the door to the rest of the house wouldn't open. No matter how hard she screamed, banged, or cried, no one could hear her, because now Clara is behind the door, and the thing wearing her face is sleeping in her bed, waiting for you to knock. October 3rd. I received a letter last week, handwritten, no return address. The message was brief. "If you're serious about the unseen, come to the old cottage in Black Hollow. Bring your equipment. Do not open the basement door." Signed, C. Wren. Clara Wren. The folklorist's name rang familiar. I'd read her work on Appalachian witchcraft and forbidden seals. She vanished 5 years ago. The house was easy to find, overgrown trail, rusted mailbox, windows boarded like the place wanted to forget it existed. But something pulled me. I stepped inside just after sundown. It was too quiet. Entry: October 4th to 2nd, 13 a.m. I set up 3 cameras, an EMF reader, and a thermal drone. Everything worked fine until I reached the basement stairs. The second I stepped on the first step, my equipment died. Cold, heavy, like something was pushing back against me. I waited. At 2:14 a.m., it started. Scratching. Soft at first, like fingernails on wood. Then louder, fleshier. I shined my flashlight down. The door was sealed, but it was breathing. The metal rippled like wet skin. Something moaned from behind it. And then, knock, knock, knock. I ran upstairs, reviewed footage. The basement camera recorded 5 seconds of static. Then a frame of someone standing right behind me, pale, smiling, no eyes. Entry: October 5th to 3:42 a.m. I should leave, but I can't. Every time I try, I end up back here. Like the roads are turning in circles. Like the forest won't let me go. I went through Clara's journals. Found one entry that chilled me. The door doesn't open to a place. It opens to a hunger, and it remembers faces. Final entry: October 6th. Unknown time. I opened the second door. God forgive me. It wasn't a door at all. It was a mirror, but not to my reflection. To every version of me that ever could have died, twisted, hollowed. One of them stepped out and smiled. Now I hear my own voice upstairs, laughing with someone. Maybe Clara. Maybe whatever used to be Clara. But I'm not leaving, because now I know the truth. Someone has to stay on this side of the door to make sure it never opens again. But it will, especially if you hear knocking at 2:14 a.m. Whatever you do, don't answer. Don't follow the footprints. Don't open the second door. They tore the woods back to make room for a luxury lodge. No one remembered the cottage, not officially. It was off the records. Burned down years ago in a freak fire. That's what the town said. But when the construction team broke ground, they found a door. Not on a building. On the forest floor, a metal door, buried beneath the roots of an ancient pine, rusted shut and cold as bone. Nobody touched it at first. One worker joked it was probably an old storm shelter. Another called it a tomb. The youngest, a 20-year-old named Eli, thought it was cool. "Let's film it for TikTok," he said. They cleared the dirt. The air went cold. The M tracker on the drone engineer's belt spiked off the scale. One man, a former Marine, refused to go near it. "Saw something like this in Kandahar once," he said. "We left it buried." But Eli stayed after hours, curious. The footage recovered from his phone showed this. Eli standing in front of the door at 2:13 a.m., grinning, mocking, tapping on it. "Yo, if there's a demon down there, I got Red Bull and beef jerky." Then, knock, knock, knock. He stops laughing, looks around, then at the camera. Wait, that wasn't me? The door opened behind him, only 2 inches, just enough for something pale and smiling to slip through. The last thing caught on film was Eli's own voice, whispering, "I'll be right up." The developers scrapped the project. The company folded within a month. No one talks about the land anymore, but sometimes hikers go missing. Sometimes campers say they hear scratching in the trees or knocking on their tents, always at the same time, 2:14 a.m. And one time, a boy came back from the woods alone, but his mother swore. He looked like her son. He spoke like her son. But she said, that thing had no eyes. If you ever find yourself near Black Hollow, and you see a rusted metal door in the ground, walk away, because the second door is open again, and it's hungry.